I recently started making a sourdough starter from scratch. If you follow me over on Instagram, you can see the progress there. However, it's time to actually figure out what to do with that starter. And today, we're making biscuits. I have only used canned biscuits in the past. I've made gravy many times. We'll go over that as well. You'll see that later. But this is going to be a new experience for me. I'm using sourdough discard. I'll go over all the measurements in a little bit as well. This might be a mistake. This might turn out great. I have no idea. Grab your coffee and let's do the damn thing. Also, I apologize. It's f***ing hot today. AC's running and I don't have a microphone yet. So, 240 grams all-purpose flour. I don't have pastry flour. It's fine. 2 teaspoons sugar. 1 tablespoon baking powder. Salt to taste. I'm not going to measure the f***ing salt. For the wet, we have 227 grams of starter discard. This is courtesy of both Fred and Jeff. If you don't know who Fred and Jeff are, go over to my Instagram. You'll understand. And 120 grams of buttermilk. If you're not using buttermilk with your biscuits, then they're not biscuits. We also have a full stick of butter that that I have in the freezer. We'll grate that, mix it in with the flour in just a minute. Flour, sugar, baking powder, pinch, salt, because I'm using salted butter. I had the butter freezing overnight, and I also froze the box trigger so it doesn't melt the butter. Also, Kerrygold. If you know, you know. Grate the whole damn stick of butter. Already starting to melt. Now, I could have used a food processor for this. I don't have one. Oh, dude. Oh, no. It's almost done. I know. It's fine. Okay, before I, destroy my fingers, because another great name for a box grater is a knuckle duster. I'll call that good. Let's save this for later. We got cheese. So, butter in with the dry. I probably should have used a bigger bowl. Alright, we're going to fork it through just like we would with any pastry dough, because this is a pastry dough. Yep, should have used a bigger bowl. I'm going to just transition to using my fingers to, basically turn this into a wet sand. Breaking up the butter but not melting it. Fingertips have less heat than your whole hand. That's what she said. I'm not worried about spilling any flour on the bench. It's going to be mixed in anyway. All right, that is the dry done. Next up, the wet team. Just incorporating it to loosen up the starter and make everything else easier to mix in. I'm going to fold this in batches so it doesn't get overly hydrated. And everything starts to get incorporated easier, so it's not as tacky. But it will be, I promise. Alright, in with the rest. Dust some of this excess flour on here so it'll pick it up when we roll everything out. Hey, look, I'm actually cleaning up as I go. Oh, yeah, that's it. That's it. Cheese stick. All right, I don't want a ton of gluten development because it's They're biscuits. You know, you don't... What the f***'s the word I'm looking for? You don't want them dense. Dense biscuits, bad biscuits. Anywho, on to counter. Whoa. Yeah, we're gonna add a little bit of flour to this. Tighten it up. It's super hydrated still. I've watched enough Elton Brown to know that ain't biscuit dough yet. We're also going to try to scrape the rest of this out. That should be fine. I'm going to roll that around in here. Try and pick up some of the loose bits. No dough left behind. That right there, that is the consistency we're looking for. Now, if the rest of it'll become that consistency, it'd be even better. There we go. Again, I don't want them to be too dry. I also don't want it to be... I don't want it to have a dense gluten structure either. And add maybe a little more flour. Oh yeah, that's it. So now what we're going to do is take this. It still feels wet. But again, I don't want to like overly dry it out. Then again, the more I touch it, the more the butter's going to melt. So we're going to kind of just flatten this out a little bit. All right, I'm going to divide it into fourths. Kind of shape these up. So what we're going to do is stack them on top of each other before we roll out the dough, so we have some nice lamination. Trying to work quickly because I know, as I said, the more I work with it, the more butter melts, the less lamination we'll actually have. Little dusting. All right. It is cutting time. I know most people are like, oh no, you have to make round biscuits. You have to use a biscuit cutter. F that. Square biscuits are far superior. 6 inches. Another 4 inches, 10 inch. Cool. So every 2 inches, I'm going to score this. This is a brand new bench scraper I got as well. So pretty happy with it. We just got these little guys. Onto parchment. I'm trying to keep them closer together. None of these are going to be perfect, all right? I'm not looking for the most photogenic biscuits ever, right? But I do want them to be mostly uniform. These guys are going in the freezer for about 30 minutes to firm up and re-solidify the butter before they go in the oven. Bench scraper was a good idea. While those are setting up, I'm gonna clean up a bit, and then we'll probably do a couple things while we wait. I'm gonna wait to cook the gravy until when they're in the oven, so that it's hot and ready. It's not gonna be overly thickened, but we got a couple things we can do. Now, while we wait for the biscuits to freeze, let's do something with the buttermilk. 300 grams of buttermilk. Yeah, I'm out of koopy. 150 gram mayo. About 150 grams of sour cream. And then, basically, ranch seasoning to taste. I'm gonna start with that. And now for my favorite part. Shake the piss out of it. It's like a shake weight infomercial. It didn't even get mixed in! Son of a... We have better tools than that. Are you too big? Damn. Where's the... There it is. Mini spatula. Oh. Come on! Oh. That. Need more seasoning. Oh, yeah! That consistency looks good. And the taste... That's some damn fine Buttermilk Ranch. Oh, yeah. Now, probably just going to leave it in this jar. However, what we're going to do is clean up the lid, and we're going to do two things with this. First off, we need to get the wifey's approval on this. Wifey approves. Secondly, we're going to grab a secondary container. Ranch. Nate's hot honey because Mike's is way too expensive for the price. And some old reliable Sriracha. That is probably the best damn ranch I have ever made. Make this. Anything out of here, make this. Clean up the mess. That was just an off-the-cuff thing. I didn't think I was going to make ranch today. I just had time to kill. By the way, never gave you a proper introduction. My name is Matt, aka mshock5150. If you've seen me on Twitch or Instagram, you'll know me from there. Speaking of which, links in the description. I usually play RuneScape because I'm an old fogey in my 30s, and that's the only comfort game I have left. Anyway, almost forgot to knead the flour. Biscuits are just about ready to go in the oven. I'm going to start the gravy now. I'm just using 1 pound of pork. No oil in the pan. I don't really need it. The pork has enough fat, and we'll use some of that fat to make the gravy. In you go. A little bit of salt. I'm going to be using salted butter, so I don't really need that much. Yep. I'm going to let that get crispy right now. Time to put the biscuits in the oven. Oh, yes. Last thing we're going to do before we put them in the oven, I'm going to just coat them in a little bit of buttermilk. And no, I don't have a pastry. No, I don't have a pastry brush. But I have ways of working around it. Paper towel. It'll soak up the excess buttermilk and act as a light brush. Oh, I didn't think that would actually work. Alright, going in the oven for 18 to 22 minutes at 425 Freedom units. Since it is a frozen pan and my oven does run a little bit cold, I'm going to move closer to the 22-minute side, so 20 minutes. Split the difference. Look at the color on that pork. Yeah. Oh, lordy, I'm sweaty. Alright, I want to break this up into smaller chunks, so I'm just using a whisk. This is similar to a hex frying pan. Whisk isn't going to damage it. It'll be fine. This next part happens relatively quick. I'm going to use half a stick of butter, about the same amount in flour. I'm just going to eyeball it. And then we're going to add the milk. Normally, I would go in with a pint of heavy cream. Heavy cream usually will help with not burning as quickly. I'm going to have to baby it with the milk, but it'll end in the same result. In goes the butter. Side note, if you have the time prior to this to turn this into browned butter and use that, do it. Pork is nice and crispy. It'll get seasoned thoroughly with the butter. And then once the butter's fully melted, I'll hit it with flour. I mean, just look at that. Get it out of there. Again, just go by feeling. That'll work. We're going to cook off the flour a little bit so it'll have that flour taste. Again, because I said I'm using cold milk, I'm just going to have to baby this a little bit. I don't have the exact measurements on this. You add milk until it's thickened to the consistency you want. Just about there to where I can just add in as much milk as I want. We're just about to the consistency I want. Obviously, you can just use the back of the spoon, like so. If you drag across, it leaves a clear path. That has no seasoning on it, but it is tasty. That should be enough milk. For what I like, at least. Drop the heat. I like it to be a little on the runnier side. That way it actually just spoons over the biscuit. And obviously, the longer you cook it, the more it's going to reduce and get to the consistency you want anyway. Which, we got 8 minutes left on the biscuits anyway, so it'll be perfect amount of time to reduce and season. Salt. Sacred ground pepper. It's hot. Like I said, it looks a little loose right now, but if we let it reduce, it'll be just fine. And the taste is beautiful. Maybe a little more salt. That's it. That right there's the money. Oh, I'm getting sweats from that. I'm gonna let that reduce while we wait on the biscuits. And clean up my mess, because I'm really bad at that. Ooh, coffee. Also, don't be like me. When you're in the kitchen, drink water. If you have them, drink electrolytes. I like Element, the iced tea, or the lemonade and iced tea. Great combination. Tastes like an Arnold Palmer, and it has 50 grams of caffeine in it. Milligrams, 50 milligrams of caffeine. Another reason I showed that off is because hopefully, when this channel starts growing more, and I can pick up some sponsorships, I want Element. I want Element. I want Bob's Red Mill. And then, if any beard care companies want to hit me up, let me know. I'm gonna need that later. Oh, okay. So I'm a little concerned. They almost look more like rolls than they do biscuits. But we'll see. Okay, I'm gonna pull these out now and let them rest. Like, a lot of the edges are golden brown, but I'm gonna say 2 more minutes, if that. Oh yeah, 2 minutes was perfect. I want to touch them. I want to touch the biscuits. Still hot. I'm gonna let those cool down for like 5-10 minutes. Hot. This is my first attempt at making biscuits myself. Give me a little slack. Okay, I think definitely things I'm gonna change for next time, or next time I make these, right? Just by looking at them. I'm gonna use an 8x8 square baking pan. That way they're nice and, you know, next to each other. I'm not gonna need it I'm not gonna need the dough as much also. And do a bit more research into why they haven't risen upward and more rounded. Or the other option is maybe I didn't add enough dry to it. Maybe the dough was just too hydrated, so it couldn't layer and laminate properly. Let me know in the comments, please, because I want to make this work. Want to make this work so bad. Thank you. Yeah, that is a roll if I have ever seen one. That is not a biscuit. Yeah, that's a roll. Still probably gonna be tasty though. I mean, the crumb is okay, right? But it's not as flaky of a texture as it should be. Let's try it with a little bit of hot honey. It's really good, but it's a roll. It's not a biscuit. Slightly upset, but I mean, that's why we make these, right? That's why we make mistakes. This hot honey's really good though. I'm not gonna let this discourage me, okay? If anything, it gives me an idea of what I can research into making them properly. Because at the end of the day, that's really what this channel is about. It's about me making mistakes, figuring out how to fix those mistakes. They're still pretty damn good. I mean, they look so good though. The money shot. Oh, yeah, baby. Anyway, if you have any suggestions, put them in the comments. So, this is my first video for this channel. And my first mistake, making rolls instead of biscuits. Check out my Instagram, check out my Twitch channels. Both will be linked in the descriptions and on the YouTube page. I'm Matt. This was my mistake. Go make some of your own.